It is the first week of August 1863. Union forces have landed on the banks of the Stono River. Two Union brigades set their sights on Fort Johnson, while the Union ironclad fleet awaits orders to test Charleston's harbor defenses. The Confederates have sent reinforcements on their way. Union forces have captured one key area. They need to capture three more to win and hold them at the end of the 11th turn. Both sides start this week with no military support points. And the Confederates have the advantage this week. And before the turn starts, each of the sides receives reinforcements. The Union receives Foster's brigade, which is placed in the island's off-map box. And these units are in command during the turn of their arrival, so no MSPs have to be spent for that purpose. The Confederates receive Evans' brigade. Evans' brigade can be placed in the 3rd and 4th district off-map box, as well as in the Georgia and Florida district off-map box, but it will enter the game in the 3rd and 4th district box, and it also is automatically in command for this turn. In addition, during this turn, the Confederates can bring 3 or 4 reduced units to full strength, and this represents the arrival of Colquitt's brigade to the area. So we have to roll 1d6, and on an even result, it will be 4 units that can be brought to full strength. On an odd result, 3 units. And the roll is a 1, so 3 reduced Confederate units are flipped to full strength. So we begin by flipping the 25th/1 South Carolina that belongs to Simonton's brigade. And this boost comes in handy for the rebel forces at L11. Both reduced units are now at full strength. Now we move on to MSP determination, and both sides start the turn with 0 MSPs. We roll 1d6 for each side. The Union rolls a 4 and will receive 3 MSPs, and the Confederates roll a 6 and they will receive 4. The Union spends an MSP to place in command 2 of its ironclads at Port Royal. And the Confederates will spend 1 MSP to conduct crew training with the crew of the Hunley. Al revés. The Confederates will spend 1 MSP to conduct crew training at level 1 for the Hunley's crew. And the Confederates will place Anderson's brigade in command. And the Confederates have 2 MSPs left. And now we move on to the operations phase. And the Union activates the Monitor's Catskill and Nantucket. They start at S5, and from there they move on to R9. Up to 2 Union monitors can be placed in a river space. And now the monitors find themselves adjacent to the rebel units in L8. And they have to stop. And the monitors will now conduct bombardment against the rebel defenders. The Nantucket targets the 25th/2 South Carolina, and it has a strength of 1 + 1 supported uncommitted ironclad, that is 2, but -2 because of the rebel entrenchment, so there is no modifier. And the Confederates have a total defense value of 6. The roll is an 11, so the target is reduced. Now the Catskill bombards the 25th/1st South Carolina Regiment, the -1 die roll modifier. Roll is a 10 modified to a 9, so the target is also reduced. And the ironclads remain at R9 and are available to support any Union assault later on during this operations phase. So now we go to the Confederate first impulse. The Confederates activate Anderson's brigade to conduct strategic movement, and because the units are on the map, their movement allowances are doubled. The brigade moves into L22 through L19, and from there to L15. And finally, Anderson splits his brigade by placing 4 units at L16 and the remaining 4 at L14. That's the end of the first impulse. Now we move on to the second impulse. The Union activates Foster's brigade, and it will conduct amphibious movement. Foster's brigade is moved through amphibious movement from S5 into R9, and R9 is adjacent to L8, which has entrenched rebels. So Foster has to disembark, and he will disembark his at L8, where the Union declares an assault against the defending rebels with the support of the 2 monitors at R9. Final attack modifiers for the Union +10, the Confederates +5. Each of the sides rolled a 7, so the final result is the Union has 17 and the Confederates have 12. Confederates have the advantage. They have the option of re-rolling their dice roll, but they won't. So the Confederates sustain 5 casualty points. By eliminating a unit, they still have to satisfy 2, and by retreating the surviving unit, which is reduced, they can only satisfy 1. So the remaining unit is also eliminated. Now to the Confederate second impulse. They have 1 MSP left and the advantage. And the Confederates will use the advantage for the purpose of conducting strategic movement with Evans' brigade. So the brigade can move double its movement allowance. All its units have a movement allowance of 2 as infantry units, so they move through L23 to L22, and in strategic movement their movement allowance is doubled, so they have 2 more movement points. They move through L19 and from there into L15. That's the end of the second impulse. Now we move on to the third impulse. The Union has no MSPs, so the Union passes. And the rebel units in L16 decide to entrench. That's the end of the Confederate impulse. And with no more MSPs on each side, that's the end of the operations phase. The ironclads in River Space R9 are returned to Port Royal. All commitment markers are now removed. On to the random events table. The roll is a 3. Slaves sent to Charleston, and the Confederates need only 4 combat factors next turn to construct entrenchments. That's the end of the August first week turn. Confederate forces continue to arrive to James Island while the Union forces slowly move through the swamps. The Confederates are preparing their secret weapon submarine Hundley. Union naval forces still remain onlooking Charleston Harbor. Stick around for the next episode of A Gate of Hell. This is Stuka Joe signing off for now. Thanks for watching.